beautiful thing about getting married young is that both of you mold each other and shape each other. You two come to the place where you have a certain set of beliefs and they have a certain set of beliefs, and you build each other up, and you become more. You're more malleable at that age, and you're able to become a cohesive unit, and that is really great. So it's important to do it young, because when you get married, you're going to have a lot of problems that arise. Financial, health issues. There's so many things that are going to come up. Children, all of those things. Where to live, where to work. There's a lot of issues that you're going to have to resolve and get through together. As you mold and shape each other, you guys begin to get the same worldview on not everything, but a lot of things, a lot of the important stuff. Now, many people say, well, don't get married young. Now, the divorce rate is high for those that get married young. And my question would be to those individuals, okay, why did your marriage fail? Why is it that you got married young and it didn't work? Do a deeper dive, because people often say, well, look at the divorce rate for when you get married young. Okay, you have to do a deeper ask and a deeper dive into that issue. There's an article here from BBC News, TikTok, why young people have to delay adulting. This is from Charlie Buckland. Get married, buy a house, and have children. That's how most of our parents did it, and they probably think other people should too. However, a TikTok trend with more than 27 million views has highlighted that achieving traditional life milestones is becoming increasingly out of reach for young people, with many pushing them aside until later in life. In these videos, young people do side-by-side comparisons of their parents at a certain age versus them now at that same age. Often the parents are in the housing market and married with kids, whereas things are very different for their own children. But Ellie Harris, who's 25, whose parents were married with 3 children at her age, said people underestimate that it was a completely different time. She is encouraging others to recognize their own wins, whether that is leaving a job where they're unhappy or taking up running, and not to compare with generations before them. Now, I will say this. When it comes to, people say comparison is the robber of happiness. Comparison can be the robber of happiness, but comparison is a good thing. You should compare yourself to your peers sometimes. Have you guys seen that it was a viral TikTok video? This woman, I think she's like 29 or something like that. Like she's up there in terms of the marriage age, but she's marriageable age. And she's saying, my family's telling me I'm wrong, my therapist is telling me I'm wrong, and my friends are telling me that I'm wrong. And just stop telling me that I'm wrong. It's like, okay, well, that's a major red flag. If everyone is telling you that you're wrong, and later in the video she admits, my friends, they've got their great relationships, they're engaged, they're married, and I feel I'm sitting here left behind. Now, that's a you problem. That is a you problem. That means you've done something or a series of things that have led you to feeling like a failure. Why do you feel like a failure? What have you done versus what have they done? That is where comparison is a good thing. You're sitting in here posting on TikTok. The car's, you're in your car. It's raining. It's a sad video. It's really pitiful and it's kind of laughable. Well, I love him. I have my dog and I love him so much, and it's really good. I just want to have love. Okay, so you've lived your life, maybe not wrong, but not optimally for where you're at right now. You want to have a great relationship, but you're by yourself. But all the people around you have a loving, beautiful, healthy, wholesome relationship. So what did you do wrong? Well, I prioritize my career. I prioritize all these other things. And she admits in the video, my friends, they prioritize their partners. They prioritize marriage. They prioritize finding someone. Oh, interesting. It's almost like trying to live a life of self-satisfaction and so focused on self. And I would encourage you to count the number of times she says I, me, and my in that video. It's very interesting. So the ones who have succeeded are the ones, or in her mind, the ones that have succeeded are the ones that are in a happy, wholesome, healthy relationship. Where she's like, I've got a good career, and I'm happy, and I'm doing good, and all these things, but I don't have any love. That's where you need to compare yourself and say, what are they doing? What am I doing? If that's the winning recipe, and I have a losing recipe, how can I go from a losing recipe to a winning recipe? In sports, you want to see, well, what are the champions doing? They go to the finals a lot. Gosh, they go to the Super Bowl a lot. They're in the AFC Championship a lot. They're in the NFC Championship a lot. They go to the Western Conference Finals a lot. They go to the Eastern Conference Finals a lot. No one cares about what the losers are doing. That's why you need comparison in your life. If you want to win, you got to see, okay, well, what are they doing? What am I doing? Now, you shouldn't compare everything because then you'll be miserable. But there is something good about comparison. And I've seen these TikToks. My wife has shown me some of them. Where you'll see this happy couple at like 23 back in the 80s, and they're happy and stuff like that, and they're in front of a home and all that. And then the 23-year-old like son or daughter is, having like a SpongeBob themed birthday party, and they're single and by themselves, and it's like, wow, dude, like grow up. Grow up. Are things different? Yes, they absolutely. No one is denying that. No one is saying, oh yeah, just go buy a home because it's just so easy. Anyone in Gen Z already knows that's not the case. It's very, very different today. That is true. But there are things where you got to say, you know what? Maybe I need to grow up. Maybe I need to move out. Maybe, even this girl, like watch, let me come down right here. Let's see. So Ellie, who still lives with her mother, said she has no intention of settling down. She said she did not know how they did it in those days, and now is a, quote, completely different time where your wage doesn't back it all up. Quote, it's not that we don't want those things, it's just that they're out of reach at the moment. I would be able to buy a home on my salary alone now. I would have to do it with someone. Right here, here's a photo. She said, I traveled to the other side of the world. I think that's a huge milestone. So this girl chose to leave work. She chose to take off of work for a while, and she traveled to Australia. I mean, so you got some kind of money. And no one's saying we demand that you buy a house now, but there's also the aspect of maybe it's time for you to grow up. Maybe it's time for you to move out. Maybe it's time for you to say, you know what? Let me actually start going on dates. Let me actually start trying to build upon myself. Let me try to work on myself. My partner, let's get married. Let's figure this out. We're trying to be a bunch of Peter Pans, you guys. This is not Neverland. I'm 25. I am Gen Z. I'm right in the thick of it with you. Do I have a big house? No. My wife and I, we have a 1-bed, 1-bath. Do we have great cars? No, we don't. Very basic. That is the reality. But there are things that you can do to grow up. Right now, people, if you're young and you're getting married, the advice that you get is, oh my God, how could you possibly be getting married? I mean, take your time. Take your time is some of the worst advice I've ever heard when it comes to marriage. Because you know why? Because there is no right time to get married. Take your time on having kids. When is the right time to have kids? Well, that's a stupid question because there is no right time to have